What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing. I just finished up watching Chris Colbert versus Jose Valenzuela, and this was a 10-rounder in the lightweight division. And this fight was Saturday, March 25th from the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. And this fight was broadcasted on Showtime pay-per-view. And in this fight, Chris Colbert was able to get a razor-thin unanimous decision victory over Jose Valenzuela. So I personally scored this bout 95-94 in favor of Jose Valenzuela. All three judges came in with scorecards of 95-94 in favor of Chris Colbert. So let me just say this clear. This was a razor-thin fight. It was definitely a one-point fight, whether you gave it to Colbert or you gave it to Valenzuela. Even though this was a one-point fight, I kind of am disagreeing with the scorecards that the judges did put in. I know that's just one round different from what I had, but I mean, most of the rounds that Valenzuela won on my scorecard were clear-cut rounds that he won, but the rounds that Colbert won were just really, really close. So just to break down my scorecard, the first round was a huge round for Valenzuela. In the first 40 seconds, he landed a massive left-hand flush on Chris Colbert while he was swinging to throw a big hook. He got caught flush, went down flat in his back, and I thought the fight could have been over because when he got back up, Valenzuela jumped on him. But luckily for Colbert, his defense prevailed and he survived the first round, and it was a 10 round for Valenzuela. Then in the second round, Colbert seemed a bit recovered, and he started to land some nice, fast, short combinations on Valenzuela, and outworked him in the round. Then the third round, it was a really close round, actually. This was the one close round that Valenzuela did win. Valenzuela had a nice barrage, but primarily Chris Colbert early in the round did some decent work, but later on Valenzuela came out with a barrage, so I just edged him the round. But then in the fourth and the fifth round, those were rounds that I did give to Chris Colbert. He started to continue on with those short pity-patter combinations, landing flush on Valenzuela, who isn't known for his best defense. He was just getting hit with some of those nice combos from Colbert, and Colbert kept going in those rounds, keeping up the pace, keeping up his fast combos, and I thought he won those two rounds. Then in round number 6, I gave it to Jose Valenzuela, and that was a clear round for Valenzuela. Valenzuela backed up Colbert, hurt him with an overhand left, got him onto the ropes, and threw a barrage of punches, and clearly won the round. But then in the 7th round, I gave it to Chris Colbert. Again, he looked like he was recovered, threw fast combinations at Valenzuela. Valenzuela didn't really react to them well, was just getting hit, flush, not really blocking them. So I gave that 7th to Colbert. Then in the 8th round, I gave this one to Valenzuela. I mean, it was just back and forth in this fight, and who would win this round, who would win that round. And then in the 8th round, I mean, it was just like the 6th round. Colbert seemed a bit stunned, where Valenzuela landed a big overhand left, and then was just another barrage of punches that won him the round. I mean, that was the thing. That was the tale in each of those rounds. It was whether if that overhand left landed of Valenzuela's or not. Then in round number 9, this was an extremely close round, but I just edged it to Chris Colbert. I thought he had the better placement on his shots. That was really a close round in the fight. Then in the 10th round, this was an extremely close round with both them having very quiet offense up until the last 10 seconds, where Jose Valenzuela jumped on Chris Colbert and made him buckle a little bit in against the ropes, and I think that just edged him that 10th and final round. So that ultimately equates to a 95-94 scorecard for Jose Valenzuela. And if you did watch this fight, comment down below how you scored it. And like I said before, I'm kind of conflicted on how the judges had it. I know it was really, really close in the end, and I know I had it a one-point fight. But just based on how the rounds worked in the end, and how everything looked, and how it was scored, and who landed more and whatnot, and who did the better work each round, I would have to say it would just be edged to Valenzuela as a whole, because he was able to hurt Chris Colbert a few times, back him up. And most of those rounds, like I said before, Valenzuela did win more clear than the rounds that Colbert won. So, I mean, it was really a close fight. I mean, actually, like, it was just really, really close when you think about it in the end. But like I said, more of the rounds that Valenzuela won were more clear, I guess you could say, than the ones that Colbert won. But nonetheless, I could definitely see how you could have it for Colbert. But I was expecting the judges to actually put it in favor of Valenzuela. But, I mean, nonetheless, I'm not too mad at the result, even though I had it for Valenzuela. But still, it was a very fun fight to watch, nonetheless. So this goes into the question, what is next for Chris Colbert? This is a big comeback win for him. Now I believe his record's 17-1. He had a dominant defeat to Hector Luis Garcia. Lost a big fight because that was for an eliminator to fight for a title. But I mean, Chris Colbert, I mean, I hope he's able to get back in there, continue on building himself back up. I mean, this was a really, really tough fight, a comeback fight, I guess you could say, because he moved up in weight, took on a young, hungry fighter who's also coming off a loss. So, I mean, for Chris Colbert, it's only up from here. He has to continue moving on, moving up, taking on better competition. And if he's able to fight and get back down to 130, I think he definitely should. I think 135 he's definitely too small. But as for Jose Valenzuela, losing here for the second straight time in his career, this is a tough pill to swallow because obviously he had a really, really close fight with Colbert in the end, and Colbert's a pretty good level fighter, and he was able to drop Colbert as well, make it a really, really good fight, and I thought he won, so it's really definitely a tough loss for especially a young kid like him. But I think he has to keep his head up. He has to continue on working on things in the gym, mainly his defense, because his offense is already pretty solid. So he has to really work on some things in the gym, and then build himself back up again, try and fight opponent after opponent, get some wins, and possibly get back into a decent position. So overall, Chris Colbert recovers from a knockdown in the first round to ultimately defeat Jose Valenzuela by a razor-thin 1-point unanimous decision. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.